So, how do you plan a mobile strategy? The thing about mobile strategy is it's difficult and different to a lot of other strategies. And the reason is, firstly, you have a very quickly changing landscape. So, and the other thing is that a lot of the ideas coming into it are new. So mobile strategy combines a combination of research, customer insight, and also just creative thinking. And really it uses the 4 elements that you see here. So you have your business objectives, and this is absolutely key to any strategy. What are you actually trying to achieve as a business? More often than not, a lot of brands approach mobile in terms of technology. We want to build an app. We want to do a text campaign. But actually, the first thing is the business objectives. What are the problems out there, and how can mobile help us solve them? Once you know that, you can then look at the mobile landscape. So what have we got now? What are our users currently doing? But also look at the future. Things are changing very rapidly. We talked about the way that older people are beginning to adopt smartphones. So maybe, if our audience is older, smartphone strategy is not correct right now, but it's something that you could be bringing in a few years' time as your demographic starts to adopt those devices. From there, you can then target your customers, and the next thing you have are the good old business realities. Because in truth, the ideal mobile marketing campaign is often hard to implement, and there's all kinds of issues with the business. Can we integrate this into the systems that already exist? Are there barriers from within the organisation? Are there regulatory problems that will stop us doing this? And then the other thing is, of course, the bottom line: is there the money to do it? And although mobile is relatively inexpensive to do, brands tend not to allocate the budget to that. So they will often, if they restrict on budget, they'll often discount mobile because they don't see it as an important priority in terms of their marketing. So it's important to come up with something that's actually realistic to the budget you've got. But in a way, these things keep feeding back into each other. So as you're developing the strategy, you look at each of these items and see how they relate to each other. So in terms of setting the objectives, there are a number of marketing and business objectives that you can actually achieve through mobile. And this chart at the bottom shows a way in which you can do that. So you can say, well, for loyalty, what we want to do here is to drive more footfall. We can look at things like sampling. We can use commerce. We can use education. And then you need to match your objectives to the activity. So if you take something like content distribution, actually, maybe an app is the best way in which to do that. You can showcase the brand well, you can use video and things like that. You might find that loyalty is best achieved through a CRM program using SMS or through vouchering. You may find that you can drive direct sales through local search and through social media activity. And then it's really important that you measure it. In session 1, the mobile landscape, I said that mobile was the most measurable of all channels because it is unique, everybody has their own device. But you need to find out what your key performance indicators actually are and use them. So, for example, in m-commerce, are you going to measure sales conversion, overall increase in sales? In mobile search, is it going to be clicks, cost per click? In brand building, are you going to look at things like brand recall and measure it that way? But you need to have a clear set of KPIs before you even start. And then you need to have a team in place to deliver it. And one of the difficulties with mobile, it's a relatively new channel, and people aren't necessarily used to it or have the expertise. So the best way to do that is to build your team from within. So obviously there needs to be a client project owner, data analyst who can actually manage all this information coming through, and a customer care team. So what if people are having problems with their mobile? What if there's a bad PR response to a particular app? There needs to be people there to actually deal with that and manage that. And then of course you have all the needs of the technical team, the backup, and people who are able to manage that integration into your core systems. Very often a lot of brands will work with an agency, and similarly on the agency side there is also a team there as well. So a strategist will work on the overall strategy and the business objectives. Account managers will work with the brand to actually help them achieve their objectives. Project managers will make sure that things are delivered on time. And then you need to consider things like the design, so you need UX designers who can actually deliver the experience, and developers who can actually code it and create the platform. In session 4, about optimization strategies, we talked about the importance of mobile web. And obviously you need a mobile CMS. There are a number of ways you can solve it. There are some, like Usable Net or Net Biscuits, which allow you to build a mobile version of a site fairly easy and quickly, and they have a set of tools. Whereas other things, some of the open source systems like Joomla, allow you to put in mobile modules. But the point being is that there needs to be some kind of content management system, and that there needs to be some plan for how that is going to integrate with your other online activities. Similarly with SMS, there's no point in just sending an SMS. You need a platform to manage that. And a typical messaging platform will allow you to message both outbound and incoming SMS. It will allow you to manage opt-outs, store numbers, and all those kinds of things, manage keywords, and also send standard responses and things like that. And again, there's a number of SMS platforms out there. They all have slightly different functions. The most important thing to do is to find out what you want to achieve from the campaign and pick the best platform accordingly. You need to think about the context for the contact of your mobile campaign. And a lot of that starts with discovery. What do we mean by discovery? Well, it's about how are consumers going to discover your brand. So are they using other media? Will they see something on television? Maybe there's a QR code that they're going to scan. Or maybe they're going to discover you within mobile. Maybe they're searching and they're going to find your brand that way. And you need to think about how that discovery is going to work and how you can be there at that point at which they discover your brand. Within search, for example, are they looking for you or are they looking for a competitor? And you need to have a strategy for SEO and for PPC to ensure that if they're going to search on their mobile device, you're going to be found. And similarly, you need a continuation strategy. So if the user already has a brand relationship, how are you going to continue that through mobile? And you're going to have a look at things like MCRM, your mobile content, and also your opportunities to cross-sell. Probably above all with mobile is the need for a clear call to action. And much of that comes from the immediacy of mobile. People interact with their mobile because they want to do it now. So that call to action needs to be very simple. So click this button to call us, scan this code to get this response. And you need to have a very simple but clear call to action for those things to work. And then in the end, you need to monitor effectiveness. So the KPIs that you set, use those, measure them, and refine the campaign. You can also look at longer-term measures, so things like brand awareness, brand consideration, but also reducing cost of customer care. Very often, switching to mobile channels can actually take the strain off the existing channels and actually reduce your costs there. Or you can use it to, for example, increase your social following, and you can drive a lot of people through to social media, things like Twitter and Facebook likes, through mobile interaction. And then we come on to campaign optimization. There's a number of key elements and activities that you can use to measure that campaign. In session 6, we talked about integration, and a good example is the way that Colorcatcher actually segmented their campaign, analysed the results, and optimised it accordingly. But also things like user feedback, what's going on in blogs, what's going on in social channels, because this can inform you as to whether you're getting the right kind of campaign. Similarly, with your media performance, you can measure it in much the same way as you measure traditional desktop. So you can actually see what your click-through rates are, and you can actually use attribution to see what they do when they actually come onto your site. And with both SMS and QR, these are great ways to do segmentation because you can actually deliver multiple keywords or multiple QR codes to actually see what the response rates are across the different channels that you're using. To see how well you've understood this session, you're charged with planning 3 campaigns. One is a soft drink for teenagers, another is a laundry product, and the third is a thriller movie release on iTunes. These are all very different demographics. So how will you find those demographics? Which platforms are they using? And how will you choose your mobile options available? From there, you can think of the creative idea and the call to action and how would it integrate with other media.